What are these things? What are these things, guys? There's some hyper kids in the park. Man, those kids are hyper. Do you know what hyper means? Hyper means full of energy, uncontrollable. If kids are hyper, it means they're just full of energy, running around, screaming and playing, and they got too much sugar in their blood, right? So they're hyper. Usually we use the word hyper for kids, but anyone could be hyper. Are you hyper? Guys, I don't know what these things are. They kind of look like beans. Look at that. Doesn't that kind of look like some sort of a bean? So what is the opposite of the word hyper? Do you know? Well, the opposite is hypo. Okay, so hyper and hypo are actually very common prefixes. What's a prefix? A prefix is a part of a word that it's a part of a word that is at the beginning of a word. Okay, so hypo and hyper are very common prefixes. There are lots of words in English that start with hyper or hypo. Okay, can you think of any examples? Well, I just hinted at an example. There's a word called hyperglycemic. Okay, or hyperglycemia is the noun. It's the name of the condition. It's a health condition where you have too much sugar in your blood. Hyperglycemia. Are you hyperglycemic? Okay, if you have too much sugar in your blood, you could say, I'm hyperglycemic. Hyper. Okay, when you think of that, I see some people spying on me, guys. I think there's some foreign agents spying on me in the trees. Do you know what a foreign agent is? It's a person who works for a different government. Right, so if you're in Canada but you're secretly working for a different country, then you are a secret agent. I'm not a secret agent, guys. I'm a Canadian and I'm in Canada right now, so I can't be a secret agent, but maybe you're a secret agent. Let me know in the comments if you are a secret agent. So think if kids are really active, they're running around, they're hyper, they're not hypo. Okay, we can actually use the word hyper as its own word. Okay, it doesn't need to be a prefix, but the word hypo is always a prefix. Does that make sense? So hyper is a common prefix, but hyper can also be its own word to talk about kids who are full of energy. Like if your kids are getting ready for bed, if it's bedtime for your children and you give them a whole bunch of sugar to eat, your kids are gonna be hyper. They're not gonna go to bed, they're gonna be too hyper. Okay, so that's its own word. But usually hyper and hypo are prefixes. Okay, so what is the opposite of hyperglycemia? The opposite is hypoglycemia. It means you have a low amount of sugar in your blood. That's kind of sad, right? Maybe you need to eat some donuts. You need to get some sugars. What would you do to increase your blood sugar, guys? I love donuts. Or what dessert would you eat to get more sugar in your blood? Are you hypoglycemic or hyperglycemic? Okay, so just remember, hyper, HYPO. Okay, what are some other examples of these prefixes? What about a word like hypothermia? What's hypothermia? Well, think about the word thermal, thermometer. What is that? A thermometer measures heat. It measures temperature, right? So if we talk about thermal, we're talking about heat-related stuff. Okay, so if you are if you are suffering hypothermia, that means your body temperature is too low. It's a dangerous thing here in the winters in Canada. If you go outside without a jacket for a while, you know, you're gonna get hypothermia. Okay, the opposite of hypothermia would be hyperthermia. That means you're too hot. Right? Hypo is low, remember? Okay, so what are some other examples of this? There's so many examples of these words in English. For example, hypoallergenic. That's a great word. Okay, you often see that word on products. If you buy maybe a shampoo and it says hypoallergenic on the shampoo or the soap or something like that, what does that mean? That means there's a low chance of allergy, because some people are allergic to fragrances, right? Perfumes and that kind of stuff. So if you are more people spying on me. What's that? I think I should move to a different hiding spot, guys. I think I've been found out. My hiding spot has been discovered by the foreign agents. All right, so yeah, if you suffer from a lot of allergies, right, then you need to live in a place that is hypoallergenic. You need to stay in a hotel or an Airbnb or something like that that is hypoallergenic. That means there's a low chance of having an allergic reaction. Okay, so if you go to if you're going on vacation and you stay in an Airbnb and the Airbnb says hypoallergenic, well, that's great for you, because it probably means that Airbnb will have no pets, no pet policy, probably no pets have ever been in there, or maybe there has been no smoking, okay, or there's no dust, no mold, those kind of like things that make people allergic, that give people an allergic reaction. Okay, so hypoallergenic is a great word. If you buy a product that is hypoallergenic, it probably means it's going to be made with safe materials, that it's going to be made from safe substances that aren't going to give you a reaction, right? So what's the opposite of hypoallergenic? The opposite would be hyperallergenic. Hyper. So that's not a good place. You don't want to stay in a place with that's hyperallergenic. The house is probably full of mold, dust, pets, you name it, right? So that's not that wouldn't be good. So I like hypoallergenic products. Usually if there's two products that are kind of similarly priced, I'll pay a little bit more for the product that's hypoallergenic, if it's shampoo or soap or whatever it is. So yeah, so does that make sense? Hypo, hyper. Okay, so many words are like this in English. Now I want to teach you a kind of word, guys. I see another foreign agent. I'm gonna just hide over here in the trees. Be hiding from these agents, guys. They're trying to find me out and stop me from teaching you English. I don't like these foreign agents, guys. I just want to teach you English in peace, So I want to teach you two kinds of words, like categories of words. Okay, one category, well, the words I want to teach you are hypernym and hyponym. And that's bright sun coming through the trees. Beautiful. Okay, so what do those words mean? Hypernym and hyponym. Well, do you know the word synonym? What's a synonym? A synonym is a word that has the same meaning as another word. Okay, I'll give you an example. The word cutlery. What is a synonym for the word cutlery? It's silverware. Okay, so cutlery and silverware mean the same thing. They're synonyms. Synonyms. Like forks, knives, spoons. That's cutlery or silverware. Finally, guys. Oh man. Maybe I should just escape before they get me. Guys, what about a word like fork? Is the word fork a synonym for the word cutlery? What do you think? Cutlery and fork. No, they're not synonyms because a fork is a kind of cutlery. The word cutlery is up here and a fork is underneath that umbrella, right? Remember the cooking episode I made a few days ago? I taught you the word umbrella term. Umbrella term is a big term with words underneath that. Like, for example, a word like vehicle. Well, there are many kinds of vehicles. There are trucks, there are cars, there are motorbikes, you could get even more specific. You could talk about a Toyota Corolla. That's a kind of vehicle. Okay? So, another way to say umbrella term is hypernym. Hyper, remember? Hyper. So what would an example, if the word cutlery is the hypernym, what would be an example of something underneath cutlery? It'd be the word fork or spoon or knife. So those would be hyponyms. Okay? So the word fork is a hyponym of cutlery. The word cutlery is a hypernym of fork. Does that make sense? Hypernym, hyponym, synonym. These synonyms are kind of side by side, like cutlery and silverware. Synonyms. Silverware and fork. Hypernym, hyponym. All right? Does that make sense? So it's good to know kind of what these prefixes mean so that you're able to predict the meaning of words. Okay? So it's very common, right? So it's kind of good to know. Just remember hypo. So anything, trying to make up a word here, just that doesn't exist. Let's say I don't know. Let's take one of these bean-looking things for example, right? If we made up a new word like hyper bean, okay, a hyper bean would be up here. A hypo bean would be down there. Doesn't make any sense, guys. It's just trying to make up a new term. But if you know the meaning of prefixes, you can kind of predict the meaning of words. Does that make sense? Like I said, the word like allergenic, most people know what an allergy is, right? So if you let's say you see the word hypoallergenic and you don't really know what it means. Hypo, you can kind of predict what it means. That if something is hypoallergenic, that's a good thing because it's less likely to cause an allergy. If it's hyper, that's not good, right? So if kids are hyper, very often it's a sign of health, and strength. If kids are hyper, they're happy, they're running around, they're playing. So maybe that's a good thing. But if it's before bedtime, that's a bad thing. Right? You don't want kids who are hyper before bedtime. So there it is, guys. Like I said, there's so many words. Give me an example of a word with hypo or hyper down in the comments. So there you have it. Guys, just a simple English lesson from my head today. Thank you for watching. As always, I love you very much. Hope you're doing great today. Hope you're staying safe, healthy, and happy. And guys, let me know, are these beans edible? I don't know if I can eat these. Maybe I should try cooking them up and eating one of these beans. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for smashing that like button. And as always, I'll see you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.